Good morning. This is a short walkthrough demo of a Airtable workflow and log for social media complaints that I created to assist you in better managing the social media complaints that you might be seeing in your new retail energy business. So just to kind of give you an overview here, I'm going to walk you through the screen here. We have the title across the table here. It's a social media complaints response log. There's a little eye. I mean, you see the little eyes. It has a description of what's there. In this case, it talks about, is it a work management tool for managing your complaints coming from social media. We have a table here over to the left called social media complaints. And you have a general view right underneath it, and that's just the sort of all records and all fields included. If you hit this little arrow and you look down, there's other views that I've already created for you. There are also opportunities here to create new views, like a different grid view, a different form view, a calendar view, a gallery view, and a Kanban view. So we're going to just walk through the general view, which would be your most common one to look at. Here what we've done is we've, let me scratch over here to the beginning of the field. We would have let's say a new complaint shows up on Google. You would use just as a drop-down menu to select a person within your marketing or customer care department who's going to be responsible for analyzing and responding to the complaint. These are all, of course, dummy names that I have in there, but you can create your own drop-down list. And then in this field, I created a department list where in responding to the complaint, you might need assistance from another department. A lot of times it will probably be sales because it might have to do with a door-to-door vendor and experience with that vendor. So you would list that department as to the department who's going to assist you. Now, what I love about Airtable is that this entire log and workflow are all based in the cloud. And so all of the people that you want to be responsible for working on this log with you can all see this. So you're all working from one workspace as opposed to the old method of creating an Excel spreadsheet. Then I've got to email the Excel spreadsheet to you. I've got to send an email saying I need your help. I've got to store this into a Windows folder. It becomes way too complicated. This should all be basically one centralized workspace where your entire team can work on a particular logged in complaint. So here the person's last name, which is usually what's listed in the social media complaint online, would be identified. You would then select from a drop-down menu what was the social media platform for where this complaint was found. And most often it will be Google. The date of the complaint that's listed on the Google website. If there's a star rating in terms of the ranking that the customer may have or prospective customer may have given, 1 through 5. Here you would also select the state, which is again for which the complaint is originating. Again, a drop-down menu of the states that you're actually doing business in. I include a field here, which would include a copy of the complaint text so that someone can look at all your team can look at the text of the complaint. And then I would, created various complaint types, which again is a drop-down menu. You can create your own types, but I created a preset that probably are applicable to what you're seeing. Is there a status about this person. So if it's a customer who's actually receiving service, you would look them up in your billing or your CRM, and you could find out whether they're an active customer, an inactive customer, or maybe it wasn't only a prospective customer, and so in which case you wouldn't be able to find a record in your database, your CRM for that customer. But you should want to know whether they're active or not active. If they're active, then you want to be able to particularly address their situation to try to manage the problem and make them a happy customer. If they're inactive, you want to do the same thing and perhaps reach out to them to see if you couldn't get them back as a customer, regain the customer. In this field, there's a text field where you can basically describe the communications with a customer, be it by email or a telephone call. You want to summarize those or actually quote verbatim what the customer communications were about. And then finally, in this field, you would again have a selection of whether the resolution process is pending or has been completed and resolved to the customer's satisfaction. You want to include here in this field the date of resolution, which is good to know when that was done. And then finally, I have a field here for notes and attachments for any additional miscellaneous notes that you want to include about the resolution process, or let's, for example, a trend that you might have noticed with respect to this complaint that we want to address immediately. Here again, this might be for attachments, it might be a copy of an email, a screenshot of a bill, something that would be relevant to the resolution of the complaint by this particular customer. In Airtable, you have a little thing up here called blocks, and blocks are basically the ability to take the data from the data matrix and basically organize the data into tables, charts, etc. So in this case, I have a block that's again a summary of the particular log and tool and what it's used for, so that someone coming to it would understand what you were trying to do. And then I have a pivot table here that I created, which would look at the complaint type by state, and you could see where if there were any trends in a particular state or a particular category that you might want to address quickly in order to reduce those complaints. So I find this a very helpful early warning system because people are quick to file complaints on internet in addition to the regulatory authorities. I would point out here that you have ability to create new views. So let's say you wanted to look at the complaints based on the star ratings. You can group different fields to highlight that data. You can also filter it by only looking at certain fields that meet certain criteria, and you can sort it. So these are all kind of helpful little mini ways to look at the nature of the complaints. For example, here it's by state, which obviously will be important to your management. It can be by platform. And then finally, which I kind of think is very helpful, is YMW, which means by year, month, and week. So you can see a trend growing or not growing over a period of time from the current month back to previous months. So I think this is one of the feature I would actually also share with you is that you can click on the share button and you can create a link to a view of the base, or actually give access to the data itself that you could then share with, let's say, someone else in the company, like a management person, like the CEO, for example. Or where I think it could be extremely helpful, you wouldn't want to share the data in terms of access to change it, but you could share a view where if a regulator was wondering whether or not you're staying on top of your complaint process, you could actually share a view for them to show them what a fantastic methodical approach you have to responding to complaints, and even, let's say, a particular complaint that they're concerned about or a trend. You could show them and share this data, without just trying to answer in a long email, or by trying to create some kind of a spreadsheet that can't show the data as well as this Airtable can. So there are all kinds of interesting ways you can use this data and share it with other people, with limiting to what you want them to see. So I hope this proves useful to you. I'm interested in any suggestions on how to improve this, or if you see different ways it can be used, I'd love to hear about it. But I hope this helps you get on top of your social media complaints right in the beginning when you're starting the business. So thank you very much.